Hey there everyone, this is another Shuffle Showcase. I'm still playing Metal Warden, and as you can see, this is probably from the same games I was actually casting last night, where I was with Phoenix and he was playing Blood Priest. And I don't know if I mentioned already, but I'm still playing Metal Warden. So anyway, here we go. We're going to go into the first round. We're going up against a Vanguard and a Spearmaster. Or Vanguard and another Metal Warden. That's kind of interesting. Anyway, so I did not see the Metal Warden behind that pillar there. And that was kind of interesting. It's like a little, you sneaky bugger. You know, I couldn't see where she came from. Just came out of nowhere. Anyway, doing a lot of damage to her, but of course she's also doing quite a few damage to me. It doesn't seem like people actually know what the energy leash does. I would really like to get the word out. You know, you guys, if you see a big circle on the ground with a big black spike coming out of the center of it, don't walk out of it. You know, you want to be in the circle. If you're already in the circle, you know, just like stay in it. Don't walk out, because that's a bad thing. You will choke and you will die from the leash around your neck. Bad puppy, that sort of stuff. So I'm looking for that Metal Warden. It's like, oh, I know you're going to be behind that pillar again. And I think I actually got bumped out of the energy leash right there. That is really cool how Metal Warden has a lot of synergy with people. And as you can see from right there, I was kind of talking about that last night, about how you should trail the target with your energy leash, and I didn't. And of course that's way, way, way back there where that actually happened. I'm trying to put on as much pressure onto this Herald. Why not Harbinger? Anyway, as much pressure onto the Herald as I possibly can. We're doing pretty good here. Doing a 2-0 victory so far. Getting myself an 80 TPS. Feeling pretty good about that. And honestly, most people would probably feel like Herald has an advantage over Metal Warden. However, because I like to be kind of a close fighter, that Chrono Boost isn't Chrono Boost. Chrono Burst, is it? Let me actually check on that, because I don't like Chrono Flux. There we go. I don't like saying the wrong name. The Chrono Flux is only against ranged, so you can usually get in through it using like your space or using your Q, like your EXQ especially, stuff like that. You can just go right through their Chrono Flux and no problem. And as you can see right there, really no problem dealing with a Herald, unless if they use their what's it called, Mantra of Devotion, then they can push you back. Okay, so we're done with the first game. These games seem to be pretty fast, so we're gonna go right ahead into the second game. And here we are. We have ourselves another game with a Herald in it, so we get to talk a lot about Herald versus Metal Warden. That's pretty good. That's actually kind of why I chose this replay. It's also got Dego King in it. And I know him as a really good glutton, so I kind of wanted to showcase this replay, given how he gave me a bit of problems. So I'm going to try and just do my M1 pressure right here, try and get as close to this Herald as I can. Then I'm going to follow it up using like energy leashes whenever possible. I just haven't seemed to be able to get a chance to until the glutton gets on me. And then that's when I use the energy leash, because when somebody's directly on you, that's when you can use your Q in order to push them back. You don't directly push them back, of course. You still have to put M1 pressure on them. So getting off M1s is very important. And of course, keeping this glutton off of me is very important as well. You can see your E doesn't actually do anything if they have a space. So you have to, this is a bloodline that you have to pay a lot of attention to whether or not people have used their abilities. If somebody has already used their space, then they're not even going to pay attention to your E. They're just going to space right out of it. They don't even care. And if you've already used your Q, you're going to have a big problem trying to push them out. especially also if you have already used your space. If you've used your space and your Q, then essentially your E is going to do 0 damage, no matter what. Because you can't rely on people walking out of it. That would just be way too good for people to be that polite. And honestly, is the Bloodline Champions community that polite? No. Anyway, so having the Glutton on you, that's when you use your E. In my honest opinion, that's how I've been playing it, is you don't use your E right off the bat. You start off with the the M1 pressure, and just try and get as close as you can using like space. And if you can build up energy using your M1, then you can probably say use your EXQ, which is a jump, and it deals damage. Let me see if it actually deals more damage. It deals 40 more damage if you hit somebody than your space does. Plus you're immaterial while you're jumping. Oh, sorry, let me skip over to a person so you can sit there and watch that. Anyway, so you're immaterial while you're jumping. So you can jump in on somebody when you're initiating, and then use your space to get out. I believe how long did he run around for? Let me speed it up a little bit. There we go. So what I'm trying to say is that if you can build up an EX using M1 pressure or using your M2, which gives you quite a bit of energy if I'm remembering correctly. Yes, it does give you a full 12, which is really good for an M2 actually. So if you build up your EX and then you can jump in on somebody, you're already using your Q, so that kind of takes away a little bit of pressure. So it's kind of more of a hit and run thing. You jump in, you deal some damage, and then you run away, use your E in order to trail the target and make sure that they can't chase after you. They have to use their space in order to come after you. And then at that point, I suppose you could use your spell block or something similar to that. That's kind of me just theory crafting a little bit. That's the theory craft section. Welcome everybody. Here we go. We're going up against this this Herald. And there I was using my Q the right way, but I almost didn't. So you kind of have to be careful about that. If you put your Q in the wrong position and you if you put your E in the wrong position and you use your Q at the wrong range, then you end up doing exactly nothing. So Metal Warden is very, very much about the positioning of a lot of things, about the positioning of your energy leash, about the positioning of how far away you are from people, about whether or not there's any blocking terrain between yourself and where you need to be, like if you need to escape, because your space can't take you over walls. Like if I was playing say Astronomer, I'd be able to space from this area over to this area over here. But since I'm Metal Warden, I have to go around this wall. So for Metal Warden, that's a very bad position for you to be down there. That's exactly why I died, because I couldn't get out. I put myself in some place where I wasn't being as effective as possible. I couldn't use anything that I needed to, and honestly, that's probably when I needed to use my EXQ in order to jump over the wall, because that's the only way that I was going to get out of that mess. Despite the only other way is if, say, the Ravener were to suddenly just lag out and just decide not to attack me at all. Besides that, EXQ would have been the way to go. And in my honest opinion, using the EXQ as a way of jumping over a wall and escaping without an enemy being there to catch the damage is wasting a little bit of pressure. So, moral of the story, positioning is very key with Metal Warden, maybe a little bit more than other characters. I'm not going to say that she's harder to play than everybody else just because of that or something like that. I'm just saying that it's definitely something that you have to pay attention to because of the range of stuff and how her space works. See, once again, I'm getting myself back into this box, into the spawn box, and don't want to be there. Thankfully, the Ravener decided that it was too much pressure there and moved off. So that was actually lucky for me, and that probably saved my life and ended up in the Ravener, maybe taking too much damage from whatever she took damage from after she left my screen. And that should wrap up our second game here. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you next time. Some facts about Metal Warden that you may not know. She has an EX1 ability that heals whoever is at the cursor location over 2 seconds. It would be useful to be able to shift cast it if you want to heal yourself, but you have to hold the cursor over your character to get this effect. In regards to her M2, does a swiftness trait help with her 1.1 second cast time? I'm going to show 2 clips, one with no traits and one with 318 in swiftness, which is the highest you can get it without using perfect diamonds. According to bloodlinecalculator.com, this results in a 12.72% increase in attack speed and an M2 cast time of 0.97 seconds. I broke the animation down frame by frame to make sure that swiftness makes it faster, and it does. Consequently, I also discovered the minimum time that Charge Bolt will cast for. This is something that's not covered in the tooltip, and as far as I know, wasn't mentioned in the patch notes. If you tap the M2 button and give it no time to charge, it will continue charging to a minimum time and then release the bolt. I broke this animation down as well, and it appears the minimum charge time is 0.4 seconds. Her ultimate is a projectile as it travels to the target location, and cannot go through walls, nor does her E ability, Energy Leash. If your ult gets reflected by parry, it disappears. If a Spearmaster conjures your space, he gets knocked away. Iron Claw versus Vanguard Reflect! Oh, and your ult can get reflected too. GG.